All right.
Thank you. 2 stickers.
Were you cheating?
No, it wasn't
that's-
cheating.
There's no way to
It's
cheat on
fair.
the blind. Yeah,
Did he
I'm
message
pushing-
someone
you.
and
Alright,
like,
alright,
hey,
do you
did-
want-
Well, I
do you
really
want-
appreciate it. You just like letting me win. You know, I really,
Do you
I'm
wanna-
happy.
Turtle, sea star, or what? Starfish?
want-
Wow.
Yeah. Do you have any smiley faces? I like those.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Chat likes those too.
Yeah, can we get some smiley faces in the chat for the prediction? Thank you.
I just called a starfish a sea star.
All right, well, this game's going to get underway. Nick right now is going to be all over WizK, and I think the main reason why we're seeing the Windwalker Monk over the Rogue is it's just more durable. Survivability is going to be really strong, and the consistent pressure against this composition in particular, I think, is going to be good. Nick right now going for a Paralyze on Abster's, leg sweep onto WizK. Heat Trinkets out, and this is an aggressive opening here from the Charlotte Phoenix. Combustion already ripped out by Jamili. That when we did see, I mean, this is a matchup we actually saw last weekend with the Golden Guardians when they played against Cloud9. We saw Snuts come in on the Windwalker Monk, and we saw this exact matchup play out. It was a really close call. It was a really close matchup, so I don't think this is a free win for the Charlotte Phoenix. Golden Guardians definitely have a fair shot in this one.
All right, let's see if they can take it. WizK's Gliders Medallion has already been burned through. Absterge is in crowd control. Jamili looks to chain it. He gets the Ring of Frost. Peekaboo's kick 1 second too late, but now he intercepts with the kidney shot. Jamili breaks out to counter-aggress WizK. It's a race, and WizK is going to pull out on the game of chicken and activate that dispersion, stabilizing himself throughout that assault. And no cauterize has been forced or sacrificed on the side of Charlotte Phoenix. They are in command at the moment in game number 1. Absterge has Earthen Wall Totem. He's getting ready to preemptively activate that. Laying it down now. Kidney shot on Jamili to hold him inside the Earthen Wall as well as long as possible. WizK in Void form, maxing out with some Void Bolt damage, trying to push Jamili over, but without crowd control and core, like, there's no way they will kill Jamili through a Holy Paladin's healing in the backline. So now their defense is kind of open here. WizK needs to get ready. Absterge is going to pre-Vitality Conduit. They just try to preemptively anticipate the incoming damage of Nick. They still have a fade, at least for the Touch of Death. Here comes the crowd control by the Golden Guardians. It's a triple. Nice setup by Absterge. Do they have the damage to back up the control, though? It doesn't look like it. Korlik has stabilized at the end of that chain and is now charging in.
Ooh, let's see what he can get done here. Paralyzed onto Absterge, Ring of Frost coming out. Nick with the Fist of Fury. WizK, you gotta be careful. There it is. Trinket Spirit Link gets netted there for Charlotte Phoenix, and they are going to drag Peekaboo a little bit further back. He goes for the blind. He gets sacrificed by Korlik. Excellently done here. Korlik putting the team on his back. Look how tilted Peekaboo looks after that. And you can see here, they really want this win on the side of Charlotte Phoenix. If they get this, they are going to be qualified. And obviously, this is going to be the last weekend that we see the Golden Guardians, potentially for the entire year. So if we have any members of the move, give us a 1 in chat. Let us know in chat. Do something. They need it right now. And they're going for a big swap here onto Korlik to get the kidney shot into the Drastigath with the Garrote follow-up, with the silence. Do they have the damage to force the Divine Shield? They just need a little bit more. Purge kick! They might just kill him before bubble! Peekaboo and WizK! Can they do it? They get the bubble at least. An excellent Ring of Peace there coming out from Nick to save the day. But wow, what an amazing Purge kick there coming out of the Golden Guardians. And they buy themselves some time to stay in the game.
Yeah, Zaryu would definitely be proud with that one. Interrupt on Korlik, double tear coming in onto Jamili, onto Nick. Nick actually taking a little bit of damage right now as he's rotting down in the match. Hammer of Justice on Peekaboo, and Peekaboo actually committed his trinket offensively. So now he is really vulnerable. Look at the Golden Guardians. There's literally no trinkets available, no Gladiators Medallion. If they get good crowd control, they might just be able to win. Nick actually getting really low still. Korlik struggling with this pressure. Golden Guardians, it's all them in terms of momentum at this point in time, but they traded out a lot of their defense to make that happen, and I think if the Charlotte Phoenix can just find one clean setup, they can easily close out this game.
Yeah, they're pretty close here. WizK Absterge pulling back defensively, getting ready for the engagement, trying to buy time. 12 more seconds. Absterge pre-healing Tide Totem. He's going to have to be preemptive with his cooldowns to wait for that Gliders Medallion to come up for himself. Doesn't even have a Spirit Link to combo with it, so it might be difficult to recover. Dropping the Earthen Wall Totem. Korlik charging in. Hammer of Justice on Peekaboo. Big setup onto the road. WizK grips him, but he's still stun locked into a triple leg sweep. Combustion is popped. How will Peekaboo survive? It looks like a feint is just enough, and WizK gripped Peekaboo into the earthen wall and was able to get some of its extra defense towards the end of it. WizK's life grips have been MVP throughout this entire circuit. Now setting up aggressively, stun into silence. Abster's pushing in, getting ready for a purge kick, maybe on a divine favor here with WizK getting ready. There's the divine favor, they blind it. Where's the purge? There's the purge by WizK. They hex Nick defensively. Corlick struggling into the Psychic Scream. No Avenging Wrath for 29 seconds. He needs an Nef proc right now if he wants to heal through this pressure out from WizK at the moment. Fort Brew active for Nick. Corlick on the run. Peekaboo in pursuit. Peekaboo going straight for the healer. Nick is charging in to try and help him out with some Vivifies. Corlick is dragging Peekaboo out into the open. If he wants to keep going after him, it could be risky. Corlick has managed to recover thanks to his teammates peeling for him. Both sides look stable, but I would say Charlotte Phoenix are getting ahead.
Charlotte Phoenix are recovering after that situation, but another big attempt here. Corlick's going to have to use his Blessing of Protection right away there on that kidney shot. Peekaboo having a lot of presence here on the enemy side of the map, harassing their healer, keeping up his poison, keeping up his bleeds, and now we see a little push here onto WizK, but Absterge with an excellently placed totem, he's going to be able to survive WizK, but WizK doesn't feel safe at all in that. He's going to use his dispersion regardless, and now another push here onto Corlick. Corlick pushing in, and this could backfire. They get the kidney shot, but a nice disarm from Nick should keep Corlick completely safe in that situation, and that's basically a wasted smoke bomb right there. I'm not sure how Zarya would feel about that, but now we're going to see full hex here onto Jamili, and now once again they're all dogpiling onto Corlick. There's the silence. Let's see, can they get there in time? Peekaboo's in stealth. He's going to go for the kidney shot. He gets it. This has got to be the bubble here from Corlick. Do they have the damage? WizK is there. He bubbles on the dressed global. Could have just gone down 100-0 right there. Excellently done there by Corlick, and the Golden Guardians are looking better and better each minute this game goes. As I say that though, Absterge did have to use his trinket right there, man.
Yeah, he did. So once again, we're in a situation where there's Absterge with no trinket, WizK with no trinket, but luckily for Peekaboo, he still has a lot of answers. So if they go after him, he should be able to survive. And right now, I mean, Golden Guardians are looking really, really good in this matchup. Charlotte Phoenix, they haven't been able to find too much pressure. Setups haven't been absolutely fantastic, but we'll see Peekaboo now on Nick. Jamili blinks in, gets the double Dragon's Breath, gets interrupted immediately by Peekaboo. Very nicely done. But the double Ring of Frost, this is a beautiful setup, and that's a nice Ring of Peace as well, knocking WizK out of the safety of that earthen wall totem. Polymorph lands after the Ring of Frost. WizK gets interrupted. He might absolutely get dropped, and there's the Void Shift. Blind Sap on a Corlick at the same time as Peekaboo's looking to set up his team. Mana's not good for Absterge. I mean, Absterge has burned through a lot of his mana. Very surprising. Corlick's going to sit through the entire blind, the entire sap, and a silence, and Nick will just trade out the karma in order to survive. So a bit unfortunate there for the Golden Guardians. Definitely hoping they got more cooldowns, but still on the back foot. Paralyzed on Absterge into a Polymorph. WizK, this could easily be the dispersion. He's getting lower. Definitely doesn't want to greet it too much. And dispersion does come in. And that wasn't even the combustion from Jamili, so things are starting to get a little bit spooky here for the Golden Guardians.
Touch of Death is available. I feel like if WizK doesn't get a fade on that perfectly timed, he's just going to explode. Absterge has been hexing Jamili to try and annoy him and slow down the fight, and Jamili's literally not even moving while in the hex, just waiting for it to be over. Getting ready for the next setup here. Pre-Earthen Wall Totem by Absterge, intercepting the Dragon's Breath. Nice read by Absterge here on the Golden Guardians. But a Ring of Peace knocks WizK out of it. He goes for a Master Spell, gets interrupted. Nice denial of that Earthen Wall. That's the Touch of Death. This could be game over for the Golden Guardians if they're not careful. There's no fade available. Defensive Psychic Scream, defensive maneuvers, but WizK gets interrupted. Absterge is in a poly, 2 seconds away from a trinket. He has Spirit Link. Touch of Death goes off, but Absterge is stabilizing with the Ascendance. Really just mashing out Polymorphs on Peekaboo while Nick is in a stun. Trying to stall for his team. Absterge managing to recover. That was potentially the checkmate position. The Golden Guardians managed to stay alive and now turn it around. Huge pressure on the Nick. He's mind controlled at low health on the Sacrifice and Diffuse Magic. If there's any crowd control to rotate over, it doesn't look like it. Both sides stabilize. The Golden Guardians pulling themselves back into this game.
Yep, that was, like you said, the checkmate position. I think he counterspelled Shadow instead of the Master Spell right there, and that's kind of what costed them here, but still they're in an okay position. They still have a lot of cooldowns here on their Paladin on the side of Charlotte Phoenix. WizK is going to have his dispersion coming back up in a second here. He's going to have his fade. No trinket though, and Abster's going to have Trinket Spirit Link. Peekaboo is going to have his trinket, so there's no real kill window on either side. Both teams basically got all of their cooldowns back just now. You see Nick gets kidney shot, Corlick now getting CC'd here by Whiskey. Panda ratio coming out. There's the full fear, but Nick, he has a touch of karma. He has he's actually going to pop both right here, trying to get some counter pressure onto Whiskey. If they can lock Absturge, if they can find a counter spell or something, that could be the game here potentially. They do get a Hammer of Justice here, and Jamili, if he can get something out of this Blinding Light, that could be Absturge's trinket at least. It doesn't look like Jamili's even going to go for it. He's just turning around, going for Peekaboo instead. He actually does find it. Peekaboo is super low HP here, going to be sitting in stealth. If Ja can get any more crowd control, he can't. He does get silenced. He gets a triple DR Sheep into the triple Dragon's Breath here potentially. Spirit Link gets dropped there by Absturge, and it looks like the Golden Guardians are going to hang on a little bit longer, but the question is how long?
Ooh, we'll see. Peekaboo going for a really nice play there. He gets a full blind into his sap on Korlik, and we see him do this quite often where just basically a pressure move. Doesn't really have big kill potential on Nick, but he allows WizK to build up his dots, get some damage rolling, and unfortunately still not able to really force out a trinket. So another full blind into a sap, into a Garrode, into a cheap shot that Korlik's just going to be able to sit nice and pretty through. Nick is getting a little bit low, but with the Avenging Wrath, I think Charlotte Phoenix are going to be in an okay situation to recover. He could be going for a Shadow Step Kidney or Shadow Step Garrode onto Jamili, as well as Korlik as they look to turn around the pressure. Korlik now actually a little bit vulnerable. WizK and Peekaboo, can they get the damage rolling? A beautiful ring of peace from Nick denies that, and now it's going to be Nick all over WizK. Let's see what he can get done. Absurge mana still hovering around 20%. Korlik might even want to sit down for a drink if he can, but I don't think he's going to be able to. There's still no blind threat for quite some time from Peekaboo. Nick just charging in, getting the damage rolling. He pre-karmas, actually preemptively karmas the kidney shot, and they used Blessing and Protection on it, so not sure I'm a huge fan of that. I feel like that was a pretty big overlap.
Yeah, the pop didn't seem necessary. Nick made a sick play there, so now they use 2 cooldowns. Triple leg sweep, though. Nice punish aggressively by Charlotte Phoenix. Ring of Frost to follow it up. Jamili has combustion if he wants to pull it here. Feint fades. Nick now in the stun. They may regret that pop earlier on, but it looks like a pre-sacrifice by Korlik on this attempt. Peekaboo's in trouble. No evasion. He cloaks on very low health. Huge Drestagath connects. Peekaboo trying to vanish out of the fight for a moment as Absturge pulls his health back up, hexing Jamili. These hexes on Jamili have been really annoying for him. I love these hexes, just taking advantage of the fact there's no decurse, buy time to recover, but Peekaboo's got no trinket. If he gets locked down in a stun, it's game over. Korlik pops out of this crowd control with the trinket. Triple blinding light, but it looks like they broke it. That's so unfortunate. That triple blinding light could have set up for the kill. Now they're going to miss an opportunity, and mana is actually evening out between the Paladin and the Shaman at 44% dampening, and Charlotte Phoenix don't have a guaranteed win just yet. Void Shift for WizK. WizK needs to get in a position where he's not stunned and can Void Shift his health over to Peekaboo. Otherwise, Peekaboo is going to explode. The entire team is getting rotted down. Look at this Shadow Breeze damage finally sinking in at 46% dampening. Korlik is struggling. Look at his team. It's just all falling apart. But there's the stun. They're not in a good position. WizK can't Void Shift for 1 second. And Charlotte Phoenix get the punish just before they were going to be overwhelmed. Game 1 goes to Charlotte Phoenix.
Wow, what a surprising turnaround at the end there. Golden Guardians was looking pretty strong throughout that game. Charlotte Phoenix holding up that pressure pretty well throughout the game, and Charlotte Phoenix taking the victory, though, in the end, Zico.
Yeah, I mean, those last couple of seconds were super hectic because on one end you had Nick using his karma, using the Blessing of Protection. Right here, Jamili used his Ice Block. Korlik used the Blessing of Protection onto Nick. I think Nick might have used his Every Man for himself. Like, everybody was just spamming through all of their cooldowns. And the same thing on the side of Golden Guardians. One setup, if you look at the trinkets here, Peekaboo's and WizK's trinket are both back up on the exact same time. So they trinketed the same setup at the exact same time. And Absturge trinketed the Polymorph to Spirit Link about 5 seconds later in that same setup. So for Charlotte Phoenix, they finally got that golden opportunity where they forced 3 trinkets in one go. And then after that, it's just cleanup.
Golden opportunity. Good one. Was that
I like you've been paying attention to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
All
at
right, go ahead, Ben.
Look at WizK's purges.
Yeah.
148
Wow.
purges in that game.
Wow.
Yeah, one or
just
two,
a
you
little
know?
bit. Just a couple. Once or
Half
twice
his globals.
throughout the game. Okay, well... Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, imagine pressing a button 148 times and like, that's crazy.
I mean, how would
Definitely.
they prevent on the side of Golden Guardians, what do you do to prevent that? Was that just like
Nothing you can do.
nothing?
I don't know.
Just sit there and die.
Like sweep them more or something. I don't know. Can't really do too
sweep
much
them
to stop
harder.
it. Yeah.
All right, well, Charlotte Phoenix going to be taking that game 1 victory in this best of 5 series, final series of the day as well. Charlotte Phoenix still trying to place into that top 4, secure themselves a spot. Golden Guardians, unfortunately, not in the cards for them anymore, but trying to finish off this circuit with the best place possible for these 4 weeks that this round robin has been going on here. Now it's going to be Golden Guardians map choice, Supatees. What is their next move? Are we going to see them play that same composition, do you think, for game number 2?
I don't think that. I mean, maybe if it's looking like there's no possibility, they do some weird thing. No, there's no way. There's no way. How do they? I mean, they could actually. No, they can't. They're just playing Shadow Priest Rogue Shaman. I'm not going to do the Supatees thing where I just talk about these random options. They're just going to play Shadow Priest Rogue Shaman.
Okay.
Well, what do you want them to run? Like, if you could pick anything, Sid, what would you want them to run right now?
Don't ask
probably
Sid
Rogue
that.
Mage Paladin.
I was going to say a tank.
Rogue Mage Paladin?
Right into this
Does it
matchup.
mirror
They
them?
no.
They should play a matchup that Rogue Mage Paladins have been losing into Windwalker Mage Paladin.
I don't know if they're supposed to be losing.
That's fair.
Yeah, it is fair. We've seen... Wait, didn't Charlotte Phoenix beat M2KC playing Windwalker Mage? But Cedar's Windwalker Mage beat Charlotte Phoenix Rogue Mage?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, I
So
mean,
it's
we don't
not
even have the
guaranteed.
data points. But, I mean, yeah. Well, it is guaranteed if you have WizK on Mage against Jamila that he's going to get dumpstered. That's for sure guaranteed.
How are we feeling about Hook Point?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
actually
it's a
going to be
small
my
map.
guess. If you asked me about the map, I was going to do the hook thing with my finger. I think it's a good map for Charlotte Phoenix, though.
We can wait. Oh, you mean if guessing about the map, you were gonna do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we ever go back to cams, I'll just pretend that we don't know and you can do it.
But we already picked hook point now. I don't have like
Just
a hook
like
for
for funsies. I don't
Yeah.
dragon
know.
maps.
Yeah.
It's not going to have the same effect anymore, unfortunately.
It's going to look scripted.
Alright, well, scripted? Is that what you said?
So, yeah, it's going to look scripted.
Yeah, probably. Alright, Golden Guardians locking in their composition. Peekaboo on the Rogue, WizK on the Shadow Priest, Absurge on the Resto Shaman. Now that we have both compositions here and the map, then how do we feel like this matchup is going to go? Do we want to take a guess as any setups that either of these teams could potentially pull off?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, that last game, honestly, the Golden Guardians, if they had anything for that last setup, I actually think they won the game. Like, Orlick had no mana left. Nick was, running on, he had nothing, and neither did Jamili. So the game was looking good. Everyone was 20% health, and Golden Guardians had finally kind of got to their win condition in the match. I think the reason why we went to Hook Point is they don't want Orlick to ever escape for a drink, as a Golden Guardian should have a mana lead in the match. And I think it's also, on the small map, a lot easier for Peekaboo to get consistent Shadow Step Kidneys on Corlick. So not only is it going to be easier for Peekaboo to maneuver around the map, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Corlick to actually get away and kind of get resets on his health and mana if he ever can drink. So I think that's the idea behind this small map. It definitely can backfire, is nowhere for the Golden Guardians to run and hide, but I would say this map is a lot better than the ground for them.
Your
And on the
production, you
side
guys
of-
got to tell us when that happens.
What?
You just appeared on camera. I didn't know. I was fixing my hair.
Oh. At least you weren't eating pizza,
At least you
Well-
have hair to fix.
and now he tells me camera.
We just
Thanks.
Thank you. So going into this next game here, then for Charlotte Phoenix or Golden Guardians, how we feel like they can either of these teams sort of reduce the amount of cooldowns that they're letting go of early on Supatees or resources in general.
I mean, it's hard, right? He's playing Firestarter, right, Jamili? So he's getting these short cooldown combusts. So you kind of panic sometimes because combustion comes up before something else that you're expecting to trade with it. It's mostly the Gliders medallions. The Golden Guardians can't use 2 Gliders medallions at the same time. That just leaves them open. If WizK had a Gliders medallion at the end of the game, He could have Trinket Void Shifted. I think he should have just been away from Peekaboo. That would have been one way to guarantee it. But the Gliders Medallion is very important for Golden Guardians. In the meantime, though, they're getting aggressive, immediately going after Korlik, and they basically have nothing to lose, and that could be an advantage for them.
Yeah, we're gonna see Peekaboo already getting up behind the pillar. Has to use Cloak of Shadows right there. Didn't have to use his Trinket though, thankfully, but that was an extremely close call right there. Peekaboo already taking some risks here. He is playing a very offensive gear setup. Last game he was running 8 gushing, and Nick is feeling the pain from those gushings right now. I don't know how many he's running this game, but he definitely is doing a lot of damage and taking a lot of damage. Full fear here onto Korlik. Let's see what they can secure here. Korlik had the Vitality Conduit taking onto everybody. He has his wings here, and now he's going to get swapped. The kidney shot comes out. Peekaboo trying to get into a good position here, but he does get disarmed by Nick, and Nick throwing out a few different fights. Korlik has the wings up, should be fine to recover everyone. Absturge trying to mind game Korlik here to go for the Hammer of Justice. Korlik doesn't want to use it into the Grounding Totem. There it is. Grounding Totem going to come out now, and that Korlik is going to feel safe to use that Hammer of Justice very, very shortly, but he needs to go soon. He trinkets. He's going to get stunned here on his Trinket. This can be a bubble as well. Peekaboo getting stunned behind the pillar right there. Excellent turnaround. That could have been extremely bad for Charlotte Phoenix, but nice play there from Korlik. He's going to keep them in the game.
I definitely will. Right now, as mind control on Jamili does get shut down there by Nick. Full kidney shot now onto Nick. Peekaboo looking for crowd control. Does get denied just a little bit there. But what? He really just threw his ice block out. I guess it was a scary situation, but sacrifice was on Nick. I feel like that ice block was a freebie. Jamili definitely giving deals out right now to Golden Guardians. So now Jamili might be a vulnerable target later on in the matchup. Korlik's still under pressure in this game. Maybe Jamili actually just says, you know what, I'm probably the most durable target on this team.
Hit me,
so go after me here. Look at me, look at me. And that's what that ice block was. Kidney shot now onto Korlik as the Golden Guardians aren't falling for it. They're going to continue this pressure onto Nick, onto Korlik, and it's working. I mean, look at Korlik. He's burning through his cooldowns. He's got the Divine Shield, but still, outside of that, there's not a lot of answers left for him. And I get the feeling if Golden Guardians can stay on target, they might be able to actually get this Divine Shield rather quickly.
WizK has to disperse there in that little bit of a chain crowd control, and Korlik prays to N'Zoth to get a proc and get his Avenging Wrath back off cooldown, retreating away. But Peekaboo switches back to Nick to try and punish Korlik's retreat. Now Korlik in a stun. And is there a silence to follow it up? WizK's going after Korlik in the silence. Peekaboo steps over with the Drastic Athlete. Korlik immediately has to Divine Shield. Nice swap to Korlik there by the Golden Guardians. I love that they're just flipping back and forth, really testing Korlik. Was that a Blinding Light? Peekaboo just accidentally dodged that, or did Korlik not mean to press that? Either way, Blinding Light's out of the way for free here. Absturge in a Polymorph. WizK's got Vampiric Embrace, so he's healing his team for quite a lot through his damage. Stun onto Korlik. Nick can't help. He's in a Psychic Scream. Void Form activates for WizK. But Paralyze on Peekaboo, it looks like more than enough. As Korlik goes for the slowest Holy Light I've ever seen, he actually has to stop the cast. Absturge is about to roll up, maybe potentially stop it, but Avenging Wrath is up. Korlik's got massive healing. They blind him. They're baiting the Gliders Medallion. Nick pre-karmas, and Korlik knows that it's a bait, so he's trying to hold on to his Medallion. They polymorph Peekaboo to stop the sap. Nice job by Jamili. WizK fading here as Absturge gets locked down in a stun into a Ring of Frost there. Mass Dispel. Doesn't look like there's no dispersion for 13 seconds. Big damage. Absturge trinkets. Pops the Ascendance. Looks to recover. Triple leg sweep though. Nice punish into another polymorph. WizK's in trouble. 4 seconds away. Void shifting right at possibly the last second to get it off. And manages to stay alive.
WizK is one dispersion away from being completely dead here, so I would say Charlotte Phoenix are in a pretty good spot. And I was about to go on a long rant about how awful Korlik's positioning has been this game, but he actually has adjusted it, so it's actually not bad anymore. So that's good for him. He's going to go ahead and get cleared right here, but it's going to break to some of those dot damage. Jamili going for the game-winning play here. Dragon's Breath into full polymorph. Let's see, can they force the dispersion here? It would be massive for Charlotte Phoenix if they can get it. You go for the resheep. Korlik's in a silence. If Jack can get one more sheep, that's going to be enough time for Korlik to get the Hammer of Justice. He gets it. Nick rolls across. They're swapping over to Absturge. He gets gripped back. Nicely done there by WizK. And they wanted to go for the one-hit wonder there. Try to punish the fact that Absturge doesn't have his trinket and they don't have Void Shift, but think if they played to the win condition, which was forced dispersion, they could have had them in checkmate right now. And now it looks like Charlotte Phoenix kind of wasted their CDs. And if you waste your CDs against this comp, well, next setup, dispersion, the one after that, Abster should have trinket again, and here we go. Can they get the dispersion now at least? Whiskey gonna immediately use it. If they can crowd control Abster through that though, they can still win. If Jack can have a Ring of Frost here maybe, he goes for it, he gets interrupted by the Panda ratio, and it looks like the Golden Guardians are gonna hold on. Despite that mistake from Charlotte Phoenix, they still did get the dispersion. They have 20 seconds to win the game.
Let's see what they can do. I mean, at this point, Dragon's Breath on Absurge. They do have Touch of Death. They could go after Absurge. He doesn't have his Trinket. Do they have a Leg Sweep? They don't, unfortunately, but they had the Touch of Death. Combustion's almost rotating back up, and I feel like they might have been able to set up an all-in onto Absurge in this game. Kidney shot now onto Korlik. Yeah, let's see if they can do it. Nick's just going to be line of sighting. Right now, the Golden Guardians have a lot of pressure. Nick could easily fall. Uses the Fortifying Brew. Mind Control out onto Korlik, and Nick might just fall. This Mind Control is beautiful. Jamili finally stops it. Nick gets purged on the Blessing of Protection. Korlik freaking out, using the Divine Shield, using the Fortifying Brew, using the Diffused Magic. Charlotte Phoenix trade out their entire defensive arsenal, everything but the sacrifice.
Yeah, just
if they just used sacrifice, Nick would have been fine. Instead, they trade out. I'm telling you, right now they're giving out coupons, and now they might even give out even more. There's a full kidney shot on the core, like a beautiful paralyzed by Nick. Denies Peekaboo any damage, and I think the Charlotte Phoenix should be able to hold on.
Korlik is the target. Avenging Wrath is up. He's retreating back to the fence side here. Defense is becoming available for the Golden Guardians, though. They're looking solid in game 2. Definitely in full control of this game. Pre-Earthen Wall Totem. They knock Peekaboo out of the Earthen Wall. That's devastating. Does Whizkey have a Master Spell? Peekaboo is getting shredded. Down on critically low health. Stuns up Nick to try and stall out for Absturge in the Polymorph. No follow-up for now. Absturge tossing out a couple Riptides. Peekaboo swaps back to Jamili, trying to pressure him away. Whizkey's charging at Korlik as if he wants to go for a Psychic Scream. Now pulling back to his team. Where are the Golden Guardians going to go from here? Is it a swap to Korlik? Is it another attempt on Nick? Nick's kind of low. They're softening him up. He rolls back, but he's rolling closer to Korlik. No smoke bomb. Kidney shot onto Nick. Polymorphs from Jamili. Really good polymorphs here by Jamili. He just needs to stop all damage during the kidney shot, then blinks into Polymorph Absturge to turn it around here. Combustion gets popped. No Cloak of Shadows. Absturge instantly trinkets out of that Polymorph, realizing how threatening Jamili would have been during that time. Korlik gets silenced up, though. They could switch to him. Nick tries to help him out by rolling over, but Peekaboo is still chasing him. They use Ring of Peace, bouncing Peekaboo off target. He's forced to stun up Nick and switch targets. Whizkey is chasing down Korlik off to the side. Avenging Wrath is up. Korlik just needs to avoid crowd control. He purges off the Divine Favor. Nice purges from Whizkey. Hammer of Justice, double leg sweep. Bit of a trouble moment here for Peekaboo. He trinkets, defensively blinds Nick here to stop all damage, but it was an overlap. Look at the Gliders Medallions of Peekaboo and Whizkey. They're both 151, 150, so that is an opening if they don't net a kill soon.
Yep, and Whiskey actually trinketed an MD there, so I think that would have been the play and hold on to Pika's trinkets since Whiskey still has dispersion, but doesn't matter now. And this is where I don't want to see Korlik. I don't want to see Korlik on this side of the map. Anytime Korlik is on this side of the map, it means Nick dies. So Korlik, if you're going to be on this side and tank every CC and every swap in the game, go in, press hammer, and that's it. Pre-karma on the kidney. They have an opportunity here to potentially take down Pika or Whiskey. There's no master spell right now. If Jamili gets a poly, it's going to be the game-winning one. He gets it. Pika is in massive trouble. Do they have the damage? Just the hammer of justice. Korlik, press it, man. Doesn't have it, and now instead Jamili's gonna have to get a reshape. He needs to get one more judge, and then he could go for it onto Absturge here potentially. Doesn't look like he's gonna go for it right now. He's gonna hold on to it for that next chain. And Korlik needs to reposition. He's getting dangerously close to Nick again. Drestigath gets popped right there. Nick, I do believe, trinketed there as well. Korlik trying to kite Whiskey as much as possible. He gets the sacrifice out. He's running back in, trying to get some heals on himself, trying to get some heals onto Nick. He gets the hammer of justice. Whiskey's all over him, looking for the swap here, and there it is. Full silence coming out. If they have anything, Korlik could just be the one dying here.
Oh, he definitely could be. He has the Divine Shield, though. Is he going to have to trade it out? The Smoke Bomb gets dropped. Peekaboo and the Golden Guardians are looking to make an offensive push. They don't get the Divine Shield just yet. They still could get it, though. but Peekaboo is going to abandon the chase, go after Nick a little bit. Now multiple pressure points. Mind control comes in from WizKay. No, Nick! He portals nowhere! He portals out of line of sight of his healer, and he could easily fall because of it. He has the Fortifying Brew up. He has the Fused Magic. Divine Shield comes in. Lots and lots of defensive cooldowns, but I get the feeling that the Golden Guardians are still going to be able to close this one up. There's still a sacrifice!
7 seconds!
Why doesn't he just use the sacrifice? Ever Touch of Karma is almost available. Dispersion actually gets traded out as well. But I think at this point, the Golden Guardians, there's no way. I mean, Golden Guardians are going to win at this point. There's just too much pressure. And I feel like Charlotte Phoenix, the final moments of that match, I think they didn't do the greatest job defensively. There was massive overlap. And the Golden Guardians are going to be able to capitalize on that one. The smaller map definitely paying off for them.
Yeah, Golden Guardians winning on game number 2 at hook point there. There's quite a bit of back and forth throughout that game, but Golden Guardians winning in the end there. Where did it start to turn around for them, Ben?
I mean, it didn't ever really look too bad for the Golden Guardians, honestly. They always had something that they could rotate through. But I just think as dampening goes up and Corlick slowly is running out of his cooldowns, you can just see. And I mean, Corlick, he trades out the Blessing of Protection. Maybe he didn't want to use the sacrifice just because he was so low. So he just trades out the Blessing of Protection. He goes for some crowd control on his own, but it was almost too little too late. He gets silence on his Avenging Wrath. Very unfortunate. And yeah, for the Golden Guardians, they're going to be happy. They're just one of these teams that kind of thrive off momentum. And if they can hit multiple targets, if there's more than one target that they can go after in a match, they always will. And this match, you could see it worked out quite nicely for them. Even though Jamili used his Ice Block earlier on in the game, they still have never even looked at him as a target. They just know he's probably full versatility, maybe Conflict and Strife, Dampen Magic. It's just Fire Mages are an incredibly durable target, and they just decided they were going to go after the Windwalker and the Paladin instead, and it worked out for them.
How's that going to work out for game number 3, though, on the side of Golden Guardians? Is that something that we can see them repeat again?
Small maps, yeah. Big maps, I don't know. Big maps are going to be a real test for them.
Am I the only one who feels like Corlick's positioning was really bad for, like, I want to say 85% of that game?
You can call him out if you want. You want to fire shots? Are we firing shots?
I'm not firing shots.
We're not firing shots.
I've never fired any shots at him. Just saying. I'm just saying. I feel like this game warranted some shots. Maybe if he goes back and looks at the bot, maybe he will agree. He's standing at the fence the whole game, stacking up with his Windwalker. I feel like it's not the best place to stand at. When you can just stand where the starting room is and heal from max range. And when I feel like when he got targeted, he ran there, and when he was standing there, it was pretty good for them. But anytime he pushed in, it felt like it backfired.
Well, are you reacting to my cat?
Maybe.
This is cat number 2. I apologize to keep it.
That's not the cute one.
What do you mean that's not the cute
I'm just
one?
kidding. I'm just kidding.
You're hurting its feelings. You're firing shots at the cat now.
Oh my god!
I was kidding.
No
He
one
didn't
is
care.
safe. Not even my cat. His fragile
What?
ears. I'm sorry, buddy. Zika doesn't think.
I
he's
love
cute.
Boom. Okay, I do think it's cute, but the
Alright,
kitten
well-
is like the hype right now. You know?
What you mean with you, man? He just left. No, I'm just kidding. Game number 3 here. We are going to be going to Ashamine's Fall. Golden Guardians already locking in their composition. Now Charlotte Phoenix with that Windwalker Fire Mage here on Ashamine's. Now that everything is locked in here, Ven, who do we feel like is maybe set up a little bit better on this matchup?
I think this is just one of those matchups that either team can win. Like, it's just about capitalizing on who doesn't have the defensive cooldowns, where can you kind of exploit the weakest link. So I think Peekaboo, if he doesn't have his trinket, they can go after him, but for the most part, they're going to be sitting on WizKay. If Absurge trinkets a little too aggressively, maybe they can go after him. And I just think Charlotte Phoenix, they need to try to find an opening. And the thing I do like about this one is, like I said, anyone can win this matchup. I get the feeling that on the smaller maps, Golden Guardians have a bit of an edge, and on the bigger map, Charlotte Phoenix have an edge. So if we see it kind of go back and forth with that trend continuing, then obviously Charlotte Phoenix are going to be looking good in this one. So for the Golden Guardians, them coming in, if they can win on this big map and they can turn the swing match in their favor, that's what they're going to need to do in order to win this series.
Okay, well, looking pretty solid here. Going to Ashamine's Fall. What do we feel like the win condition is on either side then, Zico, in your opinion? What kind of setups would you like to see from either side?
I think from Charlotte Phoenix, they just kind of want to go in, get the CC onto Absturge. If Peekaboo is killing their healer off in the backline, they can hodge him or like port leg sweep him or something and try to isolate him, take him down. Otherwise, they can get the sheeps onto, the shaman and go for the shadow priest. And then, if there's any swap opportunities, you can take them, but otherwise you can probably just ride the Shadow Priest out of cooldowns and win that way as well. And for Golden Guardians, they want to stop that from happening, try to drag on the game a little bit, get to dampening, get to that point where they have good raw pressure and Peekaboo can just go to town on these people.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked quite a bit about the build that these players are running today. If you guys are watching from home, you want to check out what they're running, awc.gcd.tv, or you can check out that bottom bar down below. There's also quite a bit of information down there in terms of schedule, the games we're going to be seeing tomorrow, information about the round robin, so definitely check it out. Supitis, though, is there anything that we could take note of from either side, any of these players, in terms of build, or maybe even something you'd like to see them change up going into this next game?
Not really. Nick and Jamili both running full versatility. Corlic's got a mix of versatility and ineffable. WizK's even mixing in some expedient, trying to min-max his damage. I feel like there's nothing specifically that's standing out to me as like a mistake from either side. Absurge isn't running a claw is the only thing. Choosing for Fangs of Intertwined Essence instead. Maybe a claw might be better for some extra damage during those goes on the Paladin. It's just so hard because he has the Divine Protection pretty much every stun thanks to Ineffable Truth, so that would be reduced, and maybe if it's at a reduced effectiveness, it's just better value to have the Fangs constantly giving you mana. But that's about it. That's the only thing I think, is maybe Absturge runs a Claw instead.
Yeah, we'll see you shortly here. That should be updated soon. Sounds like the game is ready. These players are ready to go here as the game is opening up soon. Tied up now 1-1. Charlotte Phoenix winning game number 1. Golden Guardians winning game number 2. And now tied up 1-1 on Ashermane's Fall.
I actually am curious. Do you guys know off the, what is the expression I'm looking for? Do you guys know off the top of your hand? What is the expression I'm looking for? What, like
top of your head?
Yeah, off the top of your head. Why do I think?
You're talking about my head?
I was gonna say hat. I was gonna say yeah. Anyways, do you guys know the next matchup that Phoenix plays? Like, who do they play against tomorrow? Wow, this is huge. This is actually massive because I didn't realize. So if Golden Guardians can win this series, Charlotte Phoenix, all of a sudden their position is, we could actually see a 4-way tie, I think, for 3rd and 4th. So this is massive. Golden Guardians definitely playing spoiler here. Charlotte Phoenix need this win. They have to win this because their win against Space Station Gaming tomorrow is obviously not guaranteed. And I think the stakes are super high in this one. Absurge right now at a polymorph, double leg sweep coming in. Nick looking to get aggressive very early on with the Storm, Earth, and Fire. Gets a little bit of damage rolling onto WizK, but a little bit underwhelming. WizK using the life grip onto Absurge, repositioning him, denying crowd control from Corlic and Jamili. Great job shutting down that initial go. And now Vendetta is actually going to get ripped out by Peekaboo as he looks to pressure Nick.
All right, let's see if he can keep him pressured here. Corlic trade sacrifice. They could swap to Corlic, double Psychic Scream. Trying to punish the Avenging Wrath here, but it does end up breaking. Corlic looks like he is recovering and repositioning far across midfield. Peekaboo and WizK are pushing forward. Absturge looks to back them up. They do swap to Corlic. Are they going to hex Jamili? They stun Jamili up. Corlic not taking too much damage to that Divine Protection. Still Avenging Wrath is even up. With a grapple weapon rogue, there's no way Corlic goes down. Absturge looks for a hex, gets counterspelled. Could be a big opening as Peekaboo gets stun locked. How much damage do they have here? Storm, Earth, and Fire. Oh man, Cloak of Shadows and Faint. Big trade here for Peekaboo. He's still low on health. His teammates are still locked in crowd control for another minute. 30% health. Is there any more follow-up? No. Peekaboo looks like he's going to vanish and get right back onto Corlic. I feel like on the big maps, they've got to play more reckless. I feel like this game drags on. There's no way. So they're just going straight for Corlic, trying to get that Divine Shield out of the way, but Nick is intercepting quite heavily. Fist of Fury flying, Ring of Peace, bouncing Peekaboo off Corlic. They polymorph WizK. This is great defense for Corlic right now from Charlotte Phoenix.
Yeah, and we're gonna see if he can keep that up. Korlik now stuck in the full blind here. Peekaboo getting disarmed and sheep to deny the sap here. He might trinket to get it. Doesn't look like he's gonna be able to. Silence comes out, and it looks like Nick is going to be completely fine there with that touch of karma. Now he's looking to get aggressive here. Jaw going for the polymorph Dragon's Breath. He gets Shadow Step kicked there by Peekaboo, which means Whiskey is going to be able to hold on to his dispersion for a little bit longer. So nice disruption there by Peekaboo. Jaw now are gonna be sitting through a hex. Once again, Nick in trouble here, getting kidney shot. Whiskey is moving towards his healer, and look how annoying it is for everyone to catch Korlik when he's just positioning super far away. He's not on top of his Windwalker. Now full spear here onto Korlik, and now we're gonna see Nick port to safety here. Both of them utilizing this very, very large map super effectively so far, but I want to see some CC come in, and there it is, Dragon's Breath into full polymorph, but does get Vitality Conduit, so I think Jaw actually just straight up canceled that right there, and now he's going to get it without the Vitality Conduit. Excellent play by Jaw. Do they have the stun here? Whiskey going for the Master Spell. He might be able to find it here. They're going to go for a swap with the Absterge. Big damn coming in, and Absterge going to be trinketing and using his Astral Shift right away there. Korlik getting swapped to as well. He's just used his Divine Protection and his Blessing of Protection there, so pretty good trade there for the Vendetta from Korlik, and they got Absterge's trinket here. So Absterge definitely could be a target moving forward.
Definitely. Whiskey with his trinket though, and the Void Shift gonna have more than enough defense. Keep him alive. Silence right now into Korlik as Peekaboo's all over him into a full kidney shot. Golden Guardians still looking to pressure the Paladin as much as they can. They actually get Touch of Karma at the same time. Nice fear by Whiskey on that Fist of Fury. That Fist of Fury is going to be a massive portion of the Windwalker Monk damage, so denying it with things like the Psychic Scream, really, really important to make sure you're not getting pressured too much in the match. Good crowd control coming in right now. Absurd still not put into a polymorph. Jamili just spamming out fireballs. Smoke bomb drops, and Nick is forced to use his everyman for himself to break that crowd control and allow Korlik to heal him up. So now Nick, no everyman for himself, no touch of karma, and it's going to be up to Korlik to save him during these next few attempts coming in from the Golden Guardians.
Let's see if they can. Absurge with no Gliders Medallion, no Astral Shift. They blind Korlik. They're setting up on Nick. How much damage do they have? Whiskey's in Void form. He's letting it rip. Do they have a sap? Vanish sap. Beautiful chain by Peekaboo. Nick continues to dip lower and lower. They drop Ring of Peace, but Nick is running right on top of Peekaboo. They use grapple weapon, trying to stop any follow saps, but they're swapping to Korlik. They're really mixing up. There's two targets very low on health, and Korlik is struggling right now. He has the Divine Shield. Is there a Massive Spell? Nice Massive Spell. Peekaboo's all over him. He's on forbearance. They purge off that favor. Double blinding light. They swap over to Absterge. Almost KOing him. Hammer of Justice is down right when Korlik is on. Oh man, he's just on the edge of going down. Both sides. Oh, close calls. But is there a kidney shot? Triple Psychic Scream. There is a kidney shot. Jamili blocks out to try and help. Blocks out Absterge. Polymorph after polymorph to try and save Korlik here. Bombing in a Holy Light, but Nick is still low on health. They could switch back to Nick if Korlik gets too far out of the fight. Nick needs to get ready. Peekaboo's hitting him. Avenging Rat just came up for Korlik. How's he going to heal Nick and himself? Whiskey's playing interception right now. He silences Korlik. Nick pre-karmas the stun. Nice play by Nick. Big heal comes in from Korlik. Nick's back to full. Korlik recovers. And now it's Peekaboo. He's got no Gliders Medallion. If he stays aggressive like this, he could be punished.
Oh, Jaw actually got a trinket out of this hex. He's had enough here. He wants to go for a polymorph onto Absterge. Let's see if he can finish out this game here for his team. Absterge has his trinket. Peekaboo has no trinket. So I think the only way Charlotte Phoenix wins this right now is if Pika steps to Korlik when he pokes out here, and then he gets caught by Nick. There's no port there right now, though, and it looks like Pika's actually going to go after Nick, realizing the danger of such a potential target there, and now they're going to go for the Psychic Scream with the disarm. Nick porting to safety. He activates the Fort Brew. Is it going to be enough? He does have the Diffuse Magic as well. He's greeting it so hard. He's not going to use Diffuse Magic here, and instead he's going to just kick Whiskey, catch a few heals from Korlik. Full Sheep snuck through here. Let's see what they can get done. They get a full Hammer of Justice. I think he's close enough to actually get the Vitality Conduit. They have the DL leg sweep. The beautiful Void Shift comes through in the nick of time there by Whiskey. They get Peekaboo. They're still going for it. They might force Call of Shadows here. They get it. They force every cooldown here from the Golden Guardians. And Korlik has his bubble in 35 seconds. He has to die right now.
Ooh, he uses the Blessing Protection on that kidney shot. Now he doesn't have it available for Nick. Nick has to hold on just a little bit longer. 6 seconds left on that Touch of Karma. The Golden Guardians want to close this one out. They want to go up 2-1 in this series. Can they do it is the question. Full blind on Korlik. Nick, he's got the Karma, but it's actually Peekaboo who's running away. And I don't know if he should be. Absurge actually trinkets so they can play aggressive in the situation. He tops them all off, and now the Golden Guardians are going to be feeling very confident to make a push here. Korlik still really, actually, the cooldowns are rotating back up. It wasn't looking great, but with enough ineffable truth procs, he almost has sacrifice, almost has he does have a blessing of protection, divine shields rotating back up, and all of a sudden the Charlotte Phoenix is looking a lot better in the match.
All right, well, they were maybe about to go down, but N'Zoth has blessed Korlik here in game number 3. Smoke bomb opportunity. Nick rolls out immediately. Siphon gets sniped out by Jamili. Jamili's right on top of Absturge. Getting ready to go for crowd control. Who's going to get locked down first? Absturge goes for Spirit Walkers. Jamili dodges it behind the pillar and goes invisible to prevent any further hexes. That's a nice play by Jamili. Nick is still very low. Trades Karma, trying to preempt the kidney shot. They swap to Korlik as soon as the Karma trades and get a bop. A 2-for-1 special, but look at that Divine Shield. 5 more seconds till it's off cooldown. Avenging Wrath up in 18 seconds for Korlik. They could win on mana. It's the only thing if the Golden Guardians can keep their damage up here. There's no trinket on anybody on the Golden Guardians. They could simply explode. Everyone's in crowd control. Peekaboo's locked down. Done. Fists of Fury are flying. Where's the combustion? He's choosing not to pop it just yet. Now popping the combustion. Jamili gets interrupted. They had everyone locked down in crowd control. I thought for sure they'd go for the touch of death there in the combustion and try and just power down Peekaboo, but Golden Guardians hold on for another day. Nick's still the target here. Peekaboo's pushing in. Whiskey and Absturge looking to back him up. No medallions still, though. It's quite risky, but they want to keep the pressure up and try and run Korlik out of mana. Nick gets stunned up, but he pre-fort bruise. Korlik sacrificing anyway. With Avenging Wrath up, big heals, Ring of Peace prevents Peekaboo from going after Korlik. There's the full legacy. He pre-feints it. Is the pre-feint enough? It buys time to use Cloak of Shadows. He's hanging on by 30%. They kick and mind control the polys, and it buys just enough time. That pre-feint from Peekaboo. Clutch play.
No touch of death.
Yeah, they didn't use touch of death, and in the previous Goja got silenced, so it was a little bit unfortunate. I think he choked a little bit there as well, going for the paralyze instead of trying to get that full poly. But Nick now taking massive damage. He uses the diffuse magic. He's going for the Fist of Fury here, trying to parry some attacks. Korlik has the bubble, and they're trying to greet it once again. At 26% dampening jaw, his full hex. Nick is by himself here. Touch of Karma is active and rolling. Peekaboo Kidneys into it. He wants to try to go through it. Korlik activating the Avenging Wrath, and here we go. Full Sheep is going to come out. There's the Hammer of Justice. Absturge trinkets, and they are not going to overlap this time around. Absturge is going to save the day with a trinket dispel. Korlik now getting swapped to a little bit here, or just rotted from Whiskey's pressure. That Disarm doing some work here for Whiskey. You can see Korlik, he just has this fat panda in his face that doesn't want to leave him alone, and there it is, full fear coming out into a silence, and Nick now has support to try to run with his healer here, try to get the safety. I think Absturge is the potential kill target here. If they can get a stun here onto Absturge, I think they could take him down for Charlotte Phoenix. If they can't, though, there's no other kill window.
Ooh, Nick still rotting down. I mean, he has his Fortifying Brew, and Korlik, of course, does have the Sacrifice. The kidney shot does land. Sacrifice trades out by Korlik, and not too much defense left here for Nick. I feel like he's a super big vulnerability, and it looks like a big leg sweep will come in. Peekaboo immediately. He is not messing around. He trades out the evasion. He trades out the trinket. He gets Hammer of Justice on it, and Peekaboo's still flailing. He's got the Touch of Death. He tries to smoke bomb it. Is he going to be able to get away with it? The Spirit Link Totem does drop down. Absturge keeps him alive. That was a great push there by the Charlotte Phoenix, but now Golden Guardians is looking to strike back. 10.5 minutes have elapsed in this game. Nick, he just needs a little bit more time for his Karma. Can he hold on? He just has to hold on a couple more seconds. Peekaboo almost getting smoked by a Drestagath. Didn't see that one coming. Surprised by Nick, and that will keep Peekaboo at bay for the time being, but Touch of Karma trades. I mean, right now, Charlotte Phoenix, they want to take down Peekaboo. They realize they're one setup away from winning this game. There's no defense left for the Golden Guardians. If Charlotte Phoenix can just get any more crowd control on Absturge and a stun on Peekaboo, I think the game's over.
That's it. Peekaboo pre-feints the Hammer of Justice again, but WizK's crowd control 10 seconds away from Void Shift, 9 seconds away, 7 seconds away. Are they really going to live to it? 5 seconds away. Peekaboo vanishing from the fight, buying enough time. Vitality Conduit rolls. Peekaboo is pulled back into the fight, stunning up Nick, looking for a big push. Silence on Korlik. He Divine Shields out. Is it going to be enough? Nick is critically low, almost 40% dampening. Nick gets mind controlled at low health. Korlik can't heal with the Divine Favor. He might get purged on it. Hex on Jamili. Divine Favor is still up. Are they going to purge it off? They purge it off. The big heal is is gone. Nick rolls back defensively. Peekaboo, WizKid, Absurd, all three of them dogpiling on top of Charlotte Phoenix to close this game out and take the swing match in their favor. They stun up the sap after the blind. Beautiful timing. Sacrifice slips in onto Nick on such low health. They purge off the bop. They might just ramp up this sack dot and swap the Corlick though. Peekaboo's in a bit of trouble. Absurge and a poly. He pre-feints. Nick is a bit hesitant to stay on target here. Corlick has basically no mana. 2 seconds to his Avenging Wrath. He gets stunned up. Both Nick and Corlick in a lot of trouble. Full Psychic Scream by WizKid off to the side. Void Form rolling. Siphene is down. Nick gets crushed. And Golden Guardians take the swing match and move to match point.
Wow, what incredible pressure coming from both sides. Golden Guardians, though, now 2-1 here, Ben.
I can't. I said at the beginning of this game, I didn't realize. Like, I really thought the Charlotte Phoenix, they were sitting pretty. But this is not. This is scary for them. Right now, they're 1 away from losing this, and then they have to play against Space Station Gaming. And, I mean, that's not an easy team to go against. So, if they lose this and they lose against that, then all of a sudden their qualification is really, really dicey. And we could see some tiebreakers coming in. We'll find out more about that tomorrow. But, yeah, Golden Guardians definitely looking good in this one. Not an easy matchup. I mean, like we kind of saw when Cloud9 did play the same composition. They played the Windwalker, Fire Mage, Paladin. There was really close games against the Golden Guardians, about as close a games as we've ever seen. So definitely not a guaranteed win, and we're seeing Golden Guardians find opportunities in the match and really showing that they really are a contender team. Unfortunately, they can't qualify to that top 4, but still putting on a show for all the fans.
Just laughing at the end of Peekaboo's camera there. Well done by Golden Guardians in that last game here. Any takeaways from the match results, Zico?
The takeaways are, these guys are insane. Like, I don't understand how the Golden Guardians keep doing it every single time, but they don't, like, they should be dead. I think I said, that's it, I think 2 or 3 times that game. But I don't understand. Like, why did they win? Like,
they just wanted to make you look bad as a caster.
I know, right? Like, he vanishes and they stall for the swaps and he pre-feints a setup that guaranteed should have killed it. Like, I don't know, dude. They had a phenomenal performance individually, but they need to do it one more time here against the Charlotte Phoenix, so it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, even though Golden Guardians can no longer make that top 4 spot, they really are showing up today. They're bringing their A game. They're not backing down. Charlotte Phoenix is going to have a difficult battle now here if they want to turn it around, if they want to reverse sweep Golden Guardians here. It's now their map choice here. They certainly want to tie it up 2-2, get themselves to a game 5 up against Golden Guardians, as Sven mentioned several times. This is a very important matchup for them if they want to stay in top 4, as they do have to face Space Station Gaming, like you were saying, Ben. So what's their next move? Do we want to see them maybe switch up their composition, Super Tees, go to a different size map? What do you think their strat is going into this next game?
I feel like Nick took a really long time with his Touch of Death to commit it, and then when he went for it, it wasn't really that great. Like, I feel like he had like 3 Touch of Deaths earlier than that would have killed Peekaboo, and he didn't use it. And then when he finally committed to it, Spirit Link just traded for it. So I feel like if he had better timed his Touch of Death, they would have closed that game out so much sooner. I don't think they should change. I think Rogue Mage Paladin would have a harder time than Windwalker. I was thinking like maybe Mage Lock on Tolvaron, just if you want to guarantee. But in game 5, then it's going to be Golden Guardian. This is so important for Golden Guardians to win that, because now if it's a game 5, they get to go to a small map. I feel like if they play in a Windwalker Mage on a small map, Golden Guardians are going to win.
Is that what you want to see, Ben?
I think this is, I don't know. From all the times I've seen this matchup play out, specifically with the Golden Guardians, it seems like it's not a one-sided matchup. Like, Golden Guardians have had a fair shot in every single one of the games. It's never really been a blowout. They always have pressure. They always have good cooldown usage defensively. I think the Charlotte Phoenix should make a trade. Like, I think they should switch it up. I personally, if I could pick any composition for them to run and try to win, it would go Tolvaron and play Frostmage, Destro, Paladin. Frostmage, Destro, Paladin against RPS on a big map, I think it's a good matchup. And but they're what? Okay.
The Golden Guardians beat C9 in that matchup, though.
Did they?
They sure did.
I think they actually.
Nick's going back on the. I think that's.
Or was that with
part of me?
Maybe?
Part of me thinks this is smart because I feel like Nick is kind of like shaky on Windwalker against the Golden Guardians, and then that might also be making Corlick shaky. So Nick just going back to Rogue, I think solidifies their play.
All right. Dollar and Sirius here. Did you have a thought, Vin? Sorry.
No, I just this is curious for me. I wonder what they're gonna do. I mean, Charlotte Phoenix, especially, I feel like they're gonna play this one really, really aggressive. They normally do. Obviously, this is a bit more comfortable of a pick, but I mean, Nick is a very experienced Windwalker monk. I think he's like 3,300, 3,400 on his Windwalker monk, so he plays it a lot. He has a ton of games played. I don't think it's like an alt composition for them, but it seems like the Charlotte Phoenix, this is the composition that I would say is their main. I think we could all agree on that. Playing the Rogue Mage Paladin, it's been looking really solid for them. I think they can do it against the Golden Guardians, but definitely not an easy matchup. If it was, they would have locked it in game number 1 because they knew for sure what the Golden Guardians were going to run. So the fact that they opted to play the Windwalker Monk makes me think that they believed it was a better matchup than the Rogue, but obviously not working out the way they wanted.
Yeah, and from what I hear as well from Nick, he's a fairly new player, pretty young as well, and just a phenomenal multi-classer, which is something that is super valuable on any team. And, you know, given the success that Charlotte Phoenix has so far, I feel like just together as a team, all of these players are just working out really well so far here in the AWC BFA circuit for Charlotte Phoenix. Now, Golden Guardians going to be playing their bread and butter comp here on Dollar and Sewers. What do they want to do in that opener here against Charlotte Phoenix, against RMP, if they want to maybe make it into the late stage game here and pull off a winsy go?
It's the same thing. They gotta survive, and I think against the RMP, they take a little bit more damage, but they also do a little bit more damage. So you're gonna have more lockdown for the Golden Guardians. They're gonna have more crowd control for the Golden Guardians. But if the Golden Guardians can win and survive those setups, then they do have some kill opportunities as well. A small map like this, it's gonna be good for both assassination rogues, and I feel like whoever takes control over the map, whoever can pressure the other healer or find those setups, that's who's going to be pulling ahead. I think this is a matchup that the Golden Guardians are actually pretty comfortable with. Historically speaking, they usually farm Rogue Mage, so.
If Golden Guardians loses this next game here on Dalaran and it's tied up 2-2 here, do we feel like we ever see Golden Guardians potentially swapping off of this composition, Ben?
Golden Guardians, no. It's ride or die for them. Like they're going to be playing RPS this entire time. I don't see a world where they ever switch in this series. I think they have a fair shot against everything that the Charlotte Phoenix can run, and I think this is their comfort pick, and they want to just play what they're comfortable with. They want to just show that, you know what, yeah, RPS maybe not the best composition right now, but we can make it work, and yeah, let's see what they can do.
And we've had several of these games go into dampening. We haven't really seen, I feel like, any too long games this weekend as maybe opposed to last weekend where we saw within that like 60-70% range. But considering both of the compositions on this team here, Subatees, where do these teams start to show weaknesses as we go into later stages of dampening?
Well, the Rogues are super. I think the Golden Guardians are going to do the same strategy where it's like Rogue Paladin, Rogue Paladin, Rogue Paladin, the same way they're doing Windwalker Paladin. And then Charlotte Phoenix, they could switch to Rogue. I feel like the Rogues are the most likely to die before dampening because they're probably not playing the most amount of versatility. Like Peekaboo is gushing on every single slot, whereas the Shadow Priest and the Mage are going to be just almost entirely full versatility. So it is very difficult to kill a target that's conflict and strife and full versatility. So swaps to Rogues, swaps to Paladin. I think Absterge is unlikely to be the target. So some Peekaboo or WizK is going to be the target for Charlotte Phoenix, and then I think Nick or Corlick is going to be the commitment from the Golden Guardians.
All right, well, it's game number 4 here on Dollar and Sewers. Golden Guardians versus Charlotte Phoenix, 2-1.
All right, Charlotte Phoenix on match point. If they lose, they could be entering some very sketchy tiebreaker waters tomorrow. Their qualification is on the line. If Charlotte Phoenix can just win this series, they are pretty much guaranteed to be qualified here. So for them, they want to do the turnaround. They swapped over Nick to the Rogue. Is it going to be enough for them to turn the things around? Right now, the Golden Guardians, they have them in their clutches. They have them on the move. And here we go. Peekaboo with the first kidney of the game onto Nick. Siping gets killed off immediately. WizK going for the disarm into the fear, into a Panda Race. So potentially they get A nice little push here onto Nick, but no cooldowns here, unfortunately, for the Golden Guardians. And now it's going to be Charlotte Phoenix' turn to go aggressive here. It's all about how clean the setup is. Take a look at Absterge. Is he going to pre-place the Earthen Wall Totem? Is he going to pre-Vitality Conduit? These are the plays that will decide how many cooldowns you have to use.
Yeah, let's see how this one plays out. Right away, WizKid is going to get interrupted. Are they going after him? Who's the main pressure point going to be? They're actually going after Peekaboo. I think it makes sense, but the free Earthen Wall, I think Peekaboo is going to be A-okay, and now that's actually decent pressure on Jamili, and it seems like they're more than happy to go after Jamili in this matchup. Nick, maybe not as great a target on his Rogue as he is his Windwalker Monk, but no, they're going to pressure Nick as well, so all three members actually going to be targets here for the Golden Guardians. Pressure on Korlik, Jamili, and Nick. Mana still in favor, I would say, of the Charlotte Phoenix, but it's very early on in the match. Full blind goes out onto Absterge. He's just going to sit this, and look at Peekaboo. He's just dancing circles right now. Beautiful double fear coming in from WizK. Peekaboo avoids the damage, and they have no choice but to go after WizK. He's interrupted. He trinkets out. He wants to avoid a little bit of damage. It could be the dispersion, and that's unfortunate. You don't want to have to use the trinket and the dispersion in the same go, but the Charlotte Phoenix force WizK to overlap.
All right, Korlik recovers Nick here. In a good position defensively. They're still going after WizK for now. Vendetta is rolling for Peekaboo, but they don't have any crowd control to back up the cooldown, so it's not going to get any damage out here. Peekaboo and Nick both have Smoke Bomb in their back pocket. That could be a power play. Double stun lock combo by the Golden Guardians. They're on match point, trying to close. Nick intercepts, stuns WizK, but the damage is still just coming. WizK is tearing in right now. That's what Collar is. They bomb the block, so Korlik can't bring him up. Peekaboo tries to sap him on his way in, potentially not going to be able to look for it. Korlik recovers, but the sacrifice is already burned through. The block's already burned through. I mean, the Golden Guardians are in match point. The pressure is on. Oh no, Korlik misses his blinding light. Absterge dodges. Nick's in a stun. Absterge and a poly. Who's going to fall first here? I would say that this is the best Golden Guardians have looked the entire series. If they can keep this up, I think we're going to get, what, a four-way tie potentially that needs to be broken tomorrow?
I'm not sure, but that could be the case. That could be the case. It depends on how the other series are going. But right now, this series is going in the favor of Golden Guardians right now. And you can see Korlik dropping a nice little blessing of protection right there. I'm not sure. He did get Dispel out of that Hex pretty much immediately. Nicely done by Jaw. And Korlik now in crowd control. Jaw looking for some polymorphs. Korlik is going to use Divine Shield actually to break out of the blind there. So big opportunity here for the Golden Guardians to potentially take down Korlik a little bit later. Right now they're pushing over to Jamili. Korlik gets his sacrifice back, has to immediately use it. And this is a perfect opportunity to go after the Paladin. If Peekaboo wants to, if he can make it there, it's going to be a great opportunity. Korlik is so low. I don't think he has Shadow Step, or he probably would have gone there. He's going for the Bandage double Garrote here. He gets the cheap shot onto Korlik. They're going to go for the Hex potentially out of it, but Abster's shrinking out of the blind here, getting aggressive here, looking for the Purges. He gets the full Hex, they get the full kidney shot, and here we go. There's the dress. WizK has feared Nick. Beautiful setup here by the Golden Guardians. Nick comes in with the Shadow Step Kidney. WizK drinks offensively. Jamili in so much trouble. Korlik has so much work to do. He's got the wings up. He's going with the fat heals right now, and Jamili is going to recover right there. And actually, amongst the midst of things, it's actually Charlotte Phoenix forcing out Absterge's trinket on the blind and WizK's trinket with an offensive kidney shot. So right now, Charlotte Phoenix actually have some opportunity.
Yeah, WizK pushing in. He gets the silence onto Korlik. Double Dragon's Breath shuts that down by Jamili. But nice mind control from WizK. Denies the crowd control. And Jamili just can't get any damage in the stun. You get the feeling that if he was able to do a little bit of damage, they could have forced some stuff. But a full sap on Abster. This is an absolute disaster. Peekaboo's on the run. This could easily be the Void Shift. Peekaboo Shadow Steps away, gets the interrupt onto Jamili, and it looks like Abster should be able to keep him up. That's evasion. Beautiful evasive maneuvers there by Peekaboo. Equally so, a beautiful sap there by Nick, looking to set up his team. Really, really close calls. High-level gameplay coming in from both of these teams. You can tell they really want it. Golden Guardians looking to play spoiler against the Charlotte Phoenix. The Charlotte Phoenix, they need to win this match to earn their qualification in that top four. If they lose this, then it is not so certain. So lots on the line for both these teams.
No Divine Shield for some time, no block for some time here. They're trying to push in and close this game out. Korlik pre-sacrifices the crowd control of WizK. Nice read by Korlik. Avenging Wrath is up. He's got massive healing. There's no crowd control. His team should be at full health for quite some time. Ring of Frost snipe by Jamili. Interrupted. Stalled for now. Absterge looks to line of sight. Peekaboo going after Jamili. Nick going after Peekaboo. Getting ready for the attack here. They get a root onto Nick. Nick cloaks? maybe a bit prematurely. They stun up Jamili. There's no block. There's really nothing. Korlik bombs him and closes it. The Golden Guardians clutch it. And Charlotte Phoenix are not going to have a comfortable Sunday.
Wow, well done by Golden Guardians. They may not be in the top 4, but they are certainly looking strong in that series against Charlotte Phoenix. They are showing us why they still deserve to be here, why they're still an incredible team. Golden Guardians winning that series 3-1 against Charlotte Phoenix, and that just looked